Hello, Bio 144 students. Welcome to my Bio 144 Anatomy Labs. I am your professor, Sheena Alagia. My last name is Elagia. That's how you pronounce it. So I'm your professor for lecture and some of you for labs. So this is the very first video that you will watch. It's, as the name suggests, regions of the human body and anatomical planes. Planes will be a different video. This is just for the anatomical regions. So let's get started. First thing first, know what it means to be in anatomical position. Read the chapter 1, the last part of the chapter 1, where the anatomical position is explained in details. The name of the regions are also given. I'm sorry if you were told in the previous classes that you don't need to read the textbook. For this class, you do need to read the textbook. I rely on you to read the textbook ahead of time before you watch the demo. I am uploading these files, but you will have to read the book along with watching the demo. So first thing first, you want to know this anatomical position where someone is standing upright, eyes forward, thumbs protruding to the side outwardly. Okay, thumbs are pointed outward, and this is the reference from where we are learning the anatomical terminologies. Second, you want to know the difference between right and left. When it comes to the appendages, the limbs, right and left, and the difference between those are critical. It's imperative that you always refer to the appendages and their subsequent parts as right and left. Okay. So, and right is not your right or your left. Right of the image that you are looking at and left of the image that you are looking at. So right and left, right and left. Okay. So what are the regions of the body? There are different levels. We are not going to go over all of the levels, but for convenience, I'll start with the two major levels, axial, appendicular. So when you look at regions of the body, the regions of the body are divided into axial. Axial means head, neck, and torso or trunk. This is axial. Appendicular, appendages meaning limbs. Appendicular means the right upper appendage or limb, left upper limb, also known as extremities, right lower extremity, left lower extremity, and the junction between the trunk and the extremities. So this is appendicular. Axial, head, neck, torso. Appendicular, appendages or limbs. Okay, with that in mind, now let's start identifying the different sub-regions. Axial is divided into, as we saw, head and neck. The head region, known as cephalic. The neck region is known as cervical. The trunk or the torso is further divided into an upper thoracic And the lower abdominal, and the lower part, lowest part, is the pelvic. Often abdominal and pelvic is together referred to as abdominal pelvic. Okay, cephalic, head, cervical, neck, upper thoracic, lower abdominal, lowest pelvic. That's your torso. This is all your axial skeleton. All of this is axial skeleton. Okay, now let's take that forward. Let's look at what are the subregions of the cephalic. So just cephalic is what we are looking at. Cephalic. The very upper is cranial, lower than the eyebrow. Basically, all of this, I'm using dotted line because there are many names to this part. This is facial, cranial, and facial. This cranial and facials have few subregions to those, depending on which body parts are we referring to. So let's switch to this view now. You can look at the full body instead of just the skeleton. So looking at anteriorly, the forehead is known as frontal. The eyes are orbital or ocular. The cheek buccal. The ears otic. So you say the frontal region, meaning the forehead. The orbital or the ocular region, the eyes. The cheek, the buccal region. The ears are referred to as the otic region. Nose, nasal. Lips, oral. And the chin area, mental. All of this together, everything that we refer to are part of facial. With the exception of frontal. So buccal, oral, otic, orbital, nasal, mental, these are all facial areas. Got that? Now, next, cervical. There are no subregions associated with cervical, just the neck area. Cervical. Below the collarbone, basically the chest area. Is the thoracic. The diaphragm muscle, there's a muscle known as diaphragm. Diaphragm, which separates the thoracic from the abdominal. So above the diaphragm is the thoracic region. Below the diaphragm is the abdominal region. So here we have abdominal. Pelvis or pelvic region is almost like if you're drawing a triangle. The last triangle part, the lowest part of the torso. This is overall what we refer to as the pelvic region. Central part of that pelvic region is referred to as the pubic region. And the edges of the pelvic region, where there is junction between the abdominopelvic and the lower extremities, these junctions are, this is what's referred to as inguinal. So we got all the axial regions. We had first cranial and facial, and here we have the cephalic, cervical, thoracic, abdominopelvic. And then we have all the other areas. Cervical, thoracic, abdominal, pelvic, pubic, inguinal. So we covered the axial regions. Okay, the next demo will be for appendicular region.